Yrliet. No. Nope. Not voice, unfortunately. How do you look? What class you are. Hey Alistair, nice to see you. How are you? That is simply irrational, Lady Theodora. That the man dressed in peculiar garb, his voice tied with tension, his face, upper which is covered by sin skin, is twisted in a grimace of displeasure and disbelief. Assimilation into the trait structure would be political and economic suicide, practically an admission of heresy. No, she's not voiced. But she has a really cool portrait. The tall, grey-haired woman pins him with her gaze, a cybernetic eye flashing crimson. Then, suggest an alternative that will satisfy me. I've described the situation in a word that my Seneschal could have done. Make a decision. What will you do with Aeon VI, Yrliet? At least with the little bits we have so far, it seems like she likes confident people, so we're going to full-on barge in. I'm here to speak with the Lord Captain. What is this? Yrliet turns to you and regards you with indignation. Is there someone from your retinue, Theodora? Do you permit your people to interrupt your conversations in such a fashion? I give that permission to those who have something of substance to say. Let us see if it was worth it. Idira tilts her head, her lips stretched into a cold smile. This is Edward, the second candidate for the title of my successor. The rogue trader regards you with a look that is imperious, predatory, and oppressive. Step forward, Edward. Oh nice, you're also currently playing Alistair. I'm playing an officer. Noble officer. Consider this hypothetical situation. Aeon VI, a new world on the fringes of the Koronus Expanse. High seismic activity, regular magma eruptions, metaphoric rock deposits, prospects for large-scale mining. The world is populated by natives who worship some heretical underworld spirits that protect those who offer them sacrifices. Nice of fancy, you might say, but attempts to install ore extractors have failed for the second time. The mining crews sent to the planet's surface simply vanished overnight. My question to you is, what would you do with this poisoned treasure? Okay, with so many options, way more than in Pathfinder. Okay, let's have a look. We succeeded on a Xenos check. Something about the spirits. We have a warp one. Going for Psykers. And we can say that we don't know or that we don't do those decisions. I don't think those are good options, so... Those spirits could well be the native's name for dangerous aliens. I would first verify that if that is indeed the case, and if the population on ANVI engages in xeno worship. Theodora arches an eyebrow. Reasonable and prudent. However, chasing after ethereal creatures may prove a rather long and fruitless endeavor. Yrliet scoffs. Apart from Xenos, an unformed planet might be teeming with myriad horrors that are far more dangerous and difficult to eradicate. I suspect that you, Edward, are simply unaware of their existence. You know, I gave a straight answer to a simple question, which, as I understand, was still more than you could do, Yrliet. Color drains from Yrliet's face. Nice. Which distorts his features even further. Insolent, ignorant upstart. How dare you? Yrliet. Theodora's tone renders him silent. I believe I gave you an assignment on this ship. Explain to me then why my senior congregator is still dawdling about the officer's deck instead of proceeding to the middle decks to commence the inspection of the compartments in this purview. I beg your forgiveness, Lady Theodora. Your presence has such a profound effect on me that I well forgot the time. Wow. Fly me. Yrliet bows ceremoniously, takes his leave without sparing you another look. I wonder if he tried to kill us earlier in the game. He doesn't really seem like the sociable type. Theodora's gaze follows him as he leaves, then returns to you. So, Edward, why are you here? Was it not you who sent for me? Probably makes her lose all the respect. There are questions that I wish to have answered. You are direct. I approve. But you will have to wait. There's something I want you to understand first. My name is Theodora von Valencius Massimo af Sacaris. I'm a rogue trader in the service of the God Emperor of Humanity, and my rights and freedom are vindicated by a most sacred relic, the warrant of trade kept aboard this very vessel. Mine is the honor to venture to the darkness beyond the Imperium and carry humanity's light where powers wicked and heretical reign and bow death and ruin to us all. It is my decision alone to determine the fate of whatever I find past the bounds of the explored voids. Every world I discover, along with all there is to find thereon, resources, people, riches, and mysteries, is mine by right. I command millions of lives, rule over numerous planets, and possess fortunes that no planetary governor or commander could dream of amassing. And you, Edward, are one of those with the von Valencius blood in their veins and a rightful claim to this inheritance when the hour comes. She's proud, but also insane. Really powerful, those rogue traders. Good observation that she likes straightforward people. Yeah. I really like her looks. I'm ready to take on this sacred purpose. Oh yes, you would be, wouldn't you? The question is, am I ready to choose you or the rest? You came aboard hours before the warp jump and have not yet distinguished yourself in any way. As things currently stand, I have doubts that you are suitable for the role of rogue trader. Yeah, I guess it will be quite hard to win her over. That right alone is not enough to earn the high honor of becoming the bearer of a warrant of trade. Nonetheless, your abilities and talents may yet prove useful, if not for the role of Lord Captain, then for that of the closest ally. Theodora sighs and looks away pensively for a brief moment. Alas, even those responsibilities can at times be too challenging for those who share your blood. Conrad Volkwehr served me for many years before he made his mistake. Yeah, in general, I really like the art style they chose. One off. Does it mean there are others? Naturally. Some yet have to arrive on board, but you have had the pleasure of meeting one of them. Yrliet might be somewhat disconcerted by the scale of responsibilities that may potentially fall upon his shoulders. However, I have a good feeling about him as a candidate. Everyone in the Imperium nobility, I'm sure, just wants to be the most ostentatious person in the room. Yeah, sounds fitting. If you are satisfied with Yrliet, then what sense is there in having this conversation? Why are you wasting your time on me? Idira shakes her head. Impatience. I am rather fond of impatient people. They are not as quick to resign themselves to circumstance and more eager to show initiative. Even if I choose Yrliet as my successor, I will still require loyal advisors. The skills and knowledge you acquired in former life may prove invaluable here in the Koronus Expanse. Your noble descent as a sign of power lives in your very flesh and blood. You would never doubt your words or actions, never show weakness, never let an involuntary gesture or a careless word betray your fears or agitation. At least, if your upbringing was as thorough as mine was in the time. Many will grovel at your feet, governors, commanders, highborn navigators, conceited lords, and you cannot allow them to sense weakness in the one who stands above them. Yeah, probably, if you don't manage that, it's a very short term. Moreover, Idira inclines her head slightly. Your remarkable mental abilities were noted in your profile. If you find a way to exhibit them in the service of the Valencius dynasty, well, so much the better. It's nice that she referenced all the things in the character creation. I don't trust Adolfred. Yeah, I don't know. I could also imagine that he tried to get rid of us. I mean, so far we just know of us and Adolfred. So if it's just two, it makes it even more interesting to kill the other. Wonder if we can kill him. Imagine Imperial politics to be like Game of Thrones, but much worse. That's grimdark for you, I guess. Did I hear correctly? The Master of Whispers is related to you. His kinship to me is most distant, as is yours. Nonetheless, he does bear the name von Valencius, even if he avoids using it publicly, and as such, strictly speaking, can be considered my heir. That door, however, is close to him. Voidbeer's performance in his current role is satisfactory, or it used to be at least. I would love to ask more about that, but we can't. Thank you for clarifying. May I ask my questions now? Interesting. The vox affixed to Theodora's attire suddenly comes to life, but all you can hear is unintelligible noises. Theodora winces, shuts off the transmission, gives you an imperious nod. I have some time before the Navigator gets a signal to initiate the voyage of translation out of the warp, and my presence is required on the bridge. Hey, more lore. What is a Navigator? There's such a cool Navigator companion you can meet later on. Navigator. Sanctioned noble mutant whose genes allow them to safely guide a warp-capable void ship through the warp. All Navigators have a third eye on their foreheads, which enables them to guide void ships through the warp. Without the Navigators, there simply would not be an Imperium of Man, for traveling between all but the very closest star systems would be too onerous and dangerous. I think trust is a very big word in Warhammer in general. I think that's a very good point. Trust no one, I guess. Not even your spy master. Warp. An alternate dimension of pure energy and madness, existing as a mirror to real space, also known as the Materium, the Empyrean, the Aether, the Sea of Souls, or Warp space. It is the source of all psychic powers and home dimension of the powerful entities known as the Chaos Gods and their respective daemons. The warp also functions as the medium of faster-than-light interstellar travel for humanity and is rumored by many species to be the final place of the spirits of the dead. The warp is quite interesting, but yeah, pure chaos. Navigators are basically the only way to safely travel the warp. They are the only ones who can see the astronomical. Yeah, I mean that's what the text said, right? Without that, no warp travel. Navigator, translation. What are the things you speak of? Theodora shakes her head. Sometimes I forget that people without direct access to ship's bridge may not know the first thing about how a voyage travels between the stars. Vessels such as this one are capable of leaving real space and traversing into the warp, an otherworldly dimension of cruel and unthinkable forces. Entering it under the protection of the Gala field, we shorten the route to our destination, crossing distances that would require hundreds of years in a matter of weeks instead. Sometimes in days or even hours. And that is how humanity spread across the galaxy. That is how we were able to build the Imperium, which spans millions of stars. The warp is like an ocean if the ocean was a predator. Oh gosh. An incident took place on the officer's deck. Some servitors went berserk and attacked the crew. Is that so? Perhaps the technomads were careless during maintenance, or it could be the war playing tricks on us in spite of the Gala field. Or perhaps there's something to all the stories about the ship being possessed after all. Theodora laughs nonchalantly. The grey-haired officer gives the rogue trader a look of cautious disapproval. Ooh, another one with the portrait. Looks very grim. Lady Theodora, for the God Emperor's sake, surely you do not intend to start repeating the idle rumors spreading about the uneducated riffraff. Enough, Abelard. Such hearsay amuses me. Idira eagerly retells me everything she learns from the whispers of her unseen advisors. She turns to you. This ship is thousands of years old. It has enough hidden nooks, ill-functioning cogitators, and unused compartments to make ignorant folk spread of spectres dwelling inside the bulkheads and plotting against those who yet live. What are cogitators? Any type of digital computer in the Imperium of Man. Oh. So, where's your ship headed? The Yrliet system, the domain of rogue trader Winterscale, one of my peers and rivals. Only 3 rogue traders exist in the Koronus Expanse, and each of them possesses resources comparable to mine. Perhaps you will one day assist House von Valencius in surpassing both of them in influence and splendor. Not everyone uses the warp to travel. The Tau, for example, skip across it instead of going through it. It takes longer. Though, also races like the Orcs prefer to travel the warp because they get to fight demons during the travel. Sounds adventurous. I set the course for Yrliet on the demand. Theodora grimaces. She gives you a stern look, then shrugs. For a very specific reason. Perhaps I shall yet apprise you of the purpose for this voyage, but now is not the time. What are my current responsibilities? Observe, learn, absorb. It will take time for you to find your bearings aboard this vessel and in your new position. Eventually, I will find a post that suits you as I did for Alfred. Until that time comes, consider yourself my aide. It really sounds like she already completely made up her mind about Alfred as the rogue trader. I'm not really sure about the third one, and I think Edward would really try to calculate it and be as analytical and also a bit manipulative to tell Theodora what she wants to hear. And I think, like, gracious Lord Captain, surely there are ways I can improve myself a worthy heir. Doesn't gain her respect. I have no more questions. In that case, I shall head to... Theodora's vox awakens once more. This time you pick up shouting. The Lord Captain freezes, listening to the voxcast, then nods and draws a weapon. Disturbance is reported on the adjacent docks. Seneschal, as the need rises, protect the new blood. She glances at you. It is possible that the chance to prove your worth may present itself sooner than you may have anticipated. Like mutiny. Yeah, guess...
I'll make an example
life.
out of you.
I guess life as a rogue trader is not a very relaxed life. When ambushed, battle begins. There are also quite a few of those. I mean, we have 3 allies. What? Abelard has 43 HP,
One fewer target.
and Ward has over 200.
I took care of this one.
Heretic
Brace
cutthroats.
yourself, Abelard.
Enemies of the Empire. Let's slay them. Use cover to avoid enemy attacks. More people wanted to kill us. I think it's almost the most people wanted to kill me in the beginning of a game. Okay. I have to see who I can even boost. I can't boost Mord, I can't boost Theodora. Can I boost you? Then I leave my cover. Yeah, the use of me doesn't really do... Come on, Theodora, you serve me.
On it.
I kinda odd to cast that on a rogue trader. Okay, come on.
I'll
These
make
hits.
it happen.
All the 3 attacks so far I did all missed. Yeah, but they missed too, so that's okay. Ooh, that sphere also looks nice.
Pain and duty go hand in
Like a
hand.
planetarium.
This will leave a scar!
Reduced to dust.
Ah, the music is nice. It's very fitting for the setting. Have you gone with a noble origin? Yes, so noble officer. Positive effect. Character has received a temporary positive effect from an ally. Such effect enhanced your character's capabilities in combat in some way. Cool injury. And kill them. Plus 50 ballistic skill. Nice. It's still 34 to a chance. Let's go for this one.
Who, if not me?
Come on.
You never stood
Yes.
a chance.
First hit.
I took care of this one.
What archetype did you choose, Alistair, for your character? I wonder how common that is. Probably quite common, with the warp and everything. Dora waves her hands in a commanding gesture. Mort, take a team with you and clear a path to the transport line. Do not let a single horseman survive. The rogue trader turns her eye to you. Didn't bat an eye when that scum burst on the deck, Not bad. I've seen many an officer who panicked at the sight of combat on the upper decks. The false sense of security offered by their position makes them that much more vulnerable to the harsh realities of warp travel. She looks at the box in her hands. All you can hear is lifeless static. Yeah, everyday business. What is happening? From what I've seen, Edward, I can speculate that we're dealing with some variety of madness induced by warp travel. The Seneschal is astonishingly calm for someone who just survived a sudden attack. I think it's just everyday business. Such episodes are not uncommon among voidsmen who found themselves outside the boundaries of real space, though such episodes seldom spill onto other decks. Idira clicks her box for a few times. The castles are not working, or have been sabotaged. Either the warp is toying with us, or someone went to great lengths to cut the ship's communications. I'll need a direct channel to the Engineer Prime before I can get a sense of what we're up against. Whatever it may be, keep your weapons at the ready. I imagine it will be some time before we no longer need them. How could there be armed people in the ranks of the crew who would dare to attack the Lord Captain? Seneschal gives you a gloomy look. Trust me, Edward. This is hardly surprising for a crew of thousands. The lower decks are a fertile environment for discontent and heresy, no matter how one tries to incinerate any seed before it can take root. All it takes is the hint of warp influence to cloud the minds of normally obedient cattle. Thousands. This really is like a small city. You're playing a Ministerium Priest, Officer, and Dogmatic Proton. Oh, you're Ministerium Priest, and you? But nice, also Officer. I really like their skills. Sporadic riots on the lower decks never reach these compartments. Theodora's anger causes the Seneschal to shrink slightly. No, tumultus of the rebel are always contained within their own territory. This is too well organized. It is spreading too rapidly. The incident with the rampaging servitors may be connected to what is transpiring now, don't you think? Possibly. Quite likely. Theodora winces and fixes the switch on her box a few times. We will investigate it at a later time. Right now, we need to isolate the affected compartments and try to assess the situation. What are your orders? Breaks eye contact with you. What has gone ahead to clear a path for us? If you want to make yourself useful, go after him and see if the Archmilitant requires aid. And be quick about it.
I always have a backup plan.
I like the start. I think it's quite a nice pacing. Not like a lengthy introduction, but like... yeah. Shit starts to go down really quickly. But where do I need to go? Where's Mort? Oh, and you don't have quest markers. Oh no.
Keep your wits about you.
Let's go search where you went. Well, we don't have that many places to explore. Seems to be quite some battles. Not just a few cultists, heretics.
Damn it!
Conrad Bogbeer lets out a sigh of relief upon seeing you. Thank Providence you're alive and well. Always on time, huh, Conrad? The one we've finished chasing the riffraff around the deck, you show up. Always just after fighting's done. You got your chrono by it. Conrad pointedly looks away from the Arch Militant to you. What? Pull yourself together. Which guy don't you like, Alistair? Conrad? I think so far you seem kind of friendly. The Arch-Militant looks back at you. What? The Lord Captain sent you to chivy us along. We're all done here. A reporter right away. One pulls his vox from the belt and hurriedly reports on the situation. He really didn't do anything. Master of Whispers, what is happening on my ship? The Voxnet is silent, the Voxmaster's not responding, armed assailants have stormed the officer's deck, and my Arch-Militant just destroyed several more heretics on the way here. Is this a severe case of warp madness? Have some of my crew lost their minds and forgotten who they are and whom they serve? Report! I've not yet received word from the Engineering regarding any Gallowfield failures, but communications were already unstable half an hour ago. Now they have ceased altogether. The cause might be. The consequences are spreading fast. I'm receiving scattered reports from the middle decks, and the only vox casts from the lower base are one-way heretical gibberish. With your pauses. That the madmen have already reached the officers' decks suggests that this outrage was planned in advance. Perhaps this is an organized mutiny. Shouldn't it be your job to kind of prevent that? Can we say that? A mutiny against the Emperor's anointed. Execute the traitors, every last one of them. But I think the first question is the best one, like, why would you try to instigate a mutiny in the war? It seemed very risky. Mutiny? Who would attempt a mutiny here, in the warp? Lunatics, fools, heretics. This ship houses thousands upon thousands of people. Pernicious thoughts and warp-induced delusions could have tainted any one of them. It's a difficult notion to accept, but such risks are inescapable. First, we have to confirm that the bridge and the Navigator's sanctum are secure, and I have the means to do both things at once. The expression changes as I flash ominously. Idira looks at Wardveer. Yrliet, where is he? I must know if he's unharmed. If Psyker aboard a ship that is potentially being assailed by the warp will pose a greater threat to himself and others than a whole army of madmen with improvised weapons. I knew it. Of course, if you create a sanctionized Psyker yourself as a player character, they have like an, well, not a dress, a robe. Like an all-violet robe, and that looked very similar to the one Yrliet was wearing. I tried to locate him, but the last thing known about his movements is that he arrived on Transitional Deck 18. Bastards! Master of Whispers, find the threat immediately. Seneschal, locate Tlas and the Sister of Battle. Both are to remain at my site. Archmilitant, with me. I must go to my study, and it appears that we might encounter heretics along the way. Edward? Dora glances at you thoughtfully. If I may, Lord Captain. His voice is soft and cautious. Transitional Deck 18 is at the heart of the disturbance, and if our goal was to bring Ethelfred back, we could use some support. After all, I'm not as adept as directly confronting enemies of the house as the esteemed Archmilitant, and taking into consideration Ethelfred's Psyker powers. Why does he want us along? Do you know something? It's suspicious. Then it's settled. Edward, find Ethelfred and bring him here, in whatever state you find him. This elevator, she points at the massive doors, lead to restricted compartments such as my personal chambers and the bridge. Do not let me down. I require you both. Do you understand? Oh gosh. I mean, true, since Conrad also has the one Valencius blood, he's part of the bloodline, so if he kills both of us, he could become next rogue trader. Is that his plan? Oh gosh. In whatever state. What does that mean? Conrad coughs. We are on the wharf. During the attack, there could be a disruption in the gala fields and the infiltration of malevolent forces onto the decks. Psykers can react to such things in the most unpredictable ways. Enough! Master of Whispers, you must not allow my heir to turn into a mindless mutant and to perish under enforcer fire. Do whatever it takes to bring Ethelfred back to me. I shall do everything in my power. Dora hisses in fury. Not everything in your power you will do as I say. I'll have your heads if you fail. Is that clear? Then move out. Mort, come. You succeed, or you fail, and you die. Yeah, it's so nice and dark. You would need to be officially ordained as a rogue trader for it to be of any worth. Ah, okay. So you couldn't just take it from us. Or Ethelfred at the moment, I guess. Yeah, gives you a nod. Are you ready to head to 18? It is a long walk, and you do not even have the proper gear. Well, I shall make do, so lead the way. Of course you will. He rummages in his pocket for something. Theodora would never have someone she couldn't rely on as one of her heirs, but that is no longer relevant. The pop and a sharp cackle. Something hits you in the abdomen, and you are consumed by unbearable, gut-wrenching pain. Ah, you... I knew it! I hate you! Why? But I mean, Master Whisper seems like also like the best position if you want to organize a mutiny. Damn it. I promised you a special destiny, Edward. It is time to fulfill it. For the first several rounds after receiving an injury, a character will have only a fresh injury. Fresh injuries can be instantly healed with a medikit. If left untreated, fresh injury turns into an old injury. Old injuries require a successful Medicaid test to be healed. I remember in the demo to always fail those damn checks.